Welcome in, everyone. It's Tuesday night. The Bama Standard is live. Hey, go ahead and do us a favor. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get engaged tonight. I need the live chat to do their thing. We got a lot to talk about. It might be the off season, but the action has not stopped, and it's got a lot of us really concerned about how things are playing out as far as our side of things. But before we get into all that, let me introduce my crew, highlighted first of all by the 1999 All-SEC linebacker, Marvin Constant.
Hey.
Yes, sir. And then just below, a man who's never short of words to say, and he's the king of the strip, still undefeated, Daniel Pettey's in the building. What's up, Daniel?
Let's go.
Let's go. Man, listen, we've been watching social media all day, every day. We've been seeing the portal giveth. We've been seeing the portal taking away. Been a lot more taken away rather than replenishing. And it's got us concerned. It's got us concerned that what we're losing isn't exactly being replaced with the same caliber. We've seen a lot of words spoken, or heard a lot of words spoken from one Clinton Dix, and that's where we're going to start. If you missed last week's tirade from Marvin Constant in response to going at fans and seemingly saying that that we didn't lose much, the tape don't lie. It's about quality and a bunch of other things that are supposed to make us feel bad for doubting. Well, we have reason to doubt. So we're going to start off here. We're going to revisit what Clinton Dix said. Marvin, you've been chomping the bit since last night. Talk to us. What has made you decide to revisit this particular topic?
Well, I think it's one of those things where a lot of people they don't understand what Alabama football truly is. So a lot of these guys, they came to Alabama because Coach Saban and what Coach Saban can do for them. Myself, the guys who I played with, some of the guys who came after me, and the guys who came before me, we went to Alabama because we knew what it meant to play for Alabama. There's a difference. When you go to represent and understand that this is what I'm playing for versus what you can do for me, that's two completely different mentalities, two different attitudes. So I think that's the biggest disconnect. And secondly, if you're going to say that and then looking at what we're getting out of the damn portal, last time I seen we were 31st in the portal. So you're saying the production doesn't match. So you're going to let players who are clearly more talented, more athletic walk to take lesser talent that you're still going to have to damn develop. So again, you're right back to where you started, with the exception of now you have a lesser damn talent pool. And then when you look at the money that Alabama has NIL wise, to me, it looks like, I have to think about this logically. Is it that the Alabama boosters fan base is saying, hey, we're not going to pay up because this is Alabama. You should be lucky that we're offering you. Well, newsflash, that's not going to fly anymore. Coach Saban is gone. The brand is dead from what he built. So now you have these new guys in, and clearly it looks like they're not the new shiny toy in the toy box because nobody wants anything to do with them. And you look at who we're getting out of the portal. Don't get me wrong. I've seen kids go to smaller schools. They develop them. They put them in a training room, training table. They feed them. They put them in weight room. They grow. They become great athletes and great players. They contribute, all Americans. But that's not the norm. So again, if you're going to get rid of all this 4- and 5-star talent that you had, all of these guys, you need to replace it with something equally up to par. Because here's the thing about it. Look at what Texas is doing. Look at what all the other schools are doing around you. This is shaping up to be a season of heartache. Look at the defensive line alone. Who do we have left here at defensive line? Like, what the hell? Linebacker. Who do we have at linebacker? And the portal's getting ready to close. And are you going to base your hopes on getting, high school kids? Because that's going to be dead when you got to play the likes of damn Indiana's who want to keep players on their roster who 23, 24, 5 years old, because they want to be an NFL semi-pro damn team. So again, at what point does the tide turn for Alabama? It has to start with the coaching staff making changes, because me as a player, I'm not going to that same crap that I've been watching the past 2 years thinking that I'm going to pin my hopes on that. As a receiver, would you go do that? Hell no. Running back? Hell no. O-line, D-line? What standouts has Alabama had these past few years that will make any high school recruit or a guy who's in college looking to transfer want to come to Alabama? That's the biggest question. What have you seen that makes anybody want to come to Alabama?
It's fine when you have smaller players come in, and you mentioned development. And yes, under Coach Saban, that was never under question, right? You look at across the college football landscape, Kirby Smart, he pulls in a smaller school player, development's going to happen. Ohio State, Texas, you name it. But there's not much developing going on at Alabama right now. And we have 4 and 5 stars. We look across the entire season, problems with the offensive line, problems with the running game, and on from game 1 to game 14. It never changed. It never got better. If anything, it regressed. So you can't throw in, well, there's a developmental piece and we just had to trust the coaches. We're at a point we can't trust the coaches. When you can't take the top tier talent and make them elite, there's an issue. And I know folks are quick to point out money. They're chasing the bag. Yeah, that may be a part of it, but they also want to be developed. They don't want to waste their 2-3 years there and not be developed and not get an opportunity to not only go to the NFL, but be drafted high. That's a lot of money they could be losing. But you also have to question the relationships with the coaching. Are these players wanting to play for these coaches? I'm hearing rumbles that the relationships were as great as what they're made out to be. So there's a whole lot of different things you have to take into consideration. I've talked enough. Pettey, what is your ultimate response to Ha and him calling out fans for being upset for players leaving?
Well, I've never seen a coach get less mileage off of a playoff team than this one. And that's what I've been battling in my head. Is it because we as a Bama fan base and analysts or whatever the hell, former players had this standard for a decade and a half? So it's this impossible thing to reach for this coaching staff. Or is it the reality of the situation is what Marvin's talking about? When we're talking about players aren't getting developed. Look, man, the prototype for this, and age be damned, it is what it is. It sucks. It's a broken system, but that's the system right now. But you look at Indiana. Last year, they made it to the playoffs, much like Bama, but were kind of a paper tiger in that thing and got their ass kicked once they got there. In 1 year, they took the portal, fixed the pieces it took to kind of be more physical along the line, and now they look like damn old school Bama. Therein lies where I'm kind of leaning towards. That's the reality of the situation. You can sound off all you want. I'm looking at 4-star defensive linemen getting the portal, and they're not transferring down to La Monroe because they just were bust. They're now going to Ohio State. They're going to Notre Dame. They're going to damn programs that are like, we can do something with this kid. We're going to find out real quick if it was these coaches not developing players or if it's players just chasing cash, because they're not going to the pipsqueak programs. And so, man, I think we're leaning more towards the harsh reality. And that's just I'm shocked at a coach not being able to get more mileage out of a playoff team when there's a blueprint to do it. Hey, we went to the playoffs. We only need a few more pieces. And hell, we're losing all the pieces. And like y'all alluded to, man, y'all are in it more than I am, but I've been keeping up. You're replacing them with what looks to be lesser pieces. And maybe these guys are the greatest talent evaluators of all time. But I don't know, man. If you look around the SEC right now, Kentucky, teams like Kentucky are loading up in the portal. Teams like, Ole Miss is doing it again. LSU, guess what Kiffin's doing down there right now? Texas is freaking loading up, and hell, taking them right off our doorstep right now. So,
hey, Pettey, don't worry, Pettey. We're loading up from Missouri School of the damn blind. Yeah. We'll be just damn fine. Don't.
This is again. I know we're in the throes of the Ray Perkins 2.0. I'm shocked that you could make the playoffs and get this little out of it. But look, sound off all you want, but this coaching staff sticking together, man. The team that sticks together goes down together. Because if you don't start making changes, they start at the top. This is going to be the hottest seat in Tuscaloosa in the SEC next year. I think is going to be in our own backyard.
I told y'all last show, we lose 3 games next year, these dudes are done anyway. It's over. So because you can't lose 4 games back-to-back seasons, then come back with a 3-loss season, and that's that could be a reality if they don't address these needs.
Well, Marvin, you said it in a rougher way, but that A ain't winning damn games anymore. You're not walking on that field and winning because the A and other teams are scared shitless walking on the field. These other teams are just as loaded, and now it's get the pendulum swinging even more.
I mean, you look at what that top 3 schools are spending on their rosters. What is it, around $35 million? And we're sitting here at what, 20 point something million on roster. So you have schools spending almost $15,000 more than you on a roster. What do you think is going to happen? They're going to take your better players, and then they're going to develop them when they get them there. So, and again, you still have to play the likes of the Indianas, with their 40-year-old players, playing against 17 and 18-year-olds. Yeah. So the deck is stacked against you. So my question to the coaching staff is, how are you going to fix it? Where do you see an opening for you to get this together? Because right now, this ain't it. And if you go into next season with what we have now, we're getting our ass kicked week in and week out. I'm telling you now, and it's going to be a problem.
And you look at the guys who left. You mentioned 4 and 5 stars. You got James Smith. You got Quay Russaw. Jordan Renard just left. We had enough guys who had eligibility. Had they returned next season, you have an opportunity to rebound off of the way the season finished and do something special next season. But instead, they're leaving out in droves. And I know a lot of fans want to throw out with they ain't wearing crimson. No, take a serious hard look at this. We're losing pivotal players. And yeah, we have the other guys like a Noah Carter who didn't play as much, but we're starting to climb up and starting to improve and making an impact. We have depth pieces leaving. We have experienced pieces leaving, and they're being replaced by guys with little to no experience. That makes a difference in the SEC. And I'm sorry, the freshmen coming in, they may be talented, but didn't we preach production over potential? Right now, it looks like we're trying to preach potential over production, which goes against what HaHa initially said in the tweet.
Hey, if they want guys who are just serviceable, that's on them. Again, if they're willing to place their hopes, their future on what they're doing, that's on them. That's on them. They have to live with that. But the reality is we have a lot of needs on this team, and we didn't address them in the portal. So how many other opportunities do you have to address them?
Not much longer.
2, right? You have signing day coming up, and then you have one more portal coming up in the spring, right?
You do.
Right. So you have 2 opportunities to get this right. The first one, the high school one, that isn't going to be really beneficial to you because playing 17 and 18-year-olds right now is probably not going to really go in your favor given the nature of college football with all these 22 and 23-year-olds playing. You probably don't want to put a 17, 18-year-old out there on the field with them. So
unless they're Malachi Tony.
So right, but that's rare. That's rare.
Oh no, they're unicorns.
Right. Now, what I will say, maybe, just maybe, Kalen DeBoer, you might want to look in the interim at taking the Jackie Sherrill approach.
Oh.
Loading up on some of these junior college guys, and given the fact with the latest ruling that junior college years no longer count, now you'll have them for 4 years. So not only will you have seasoned players, you don't have to worry about only having them for the short period of time. Whereas in the past, you got a guy from junior college, you probably looked at having them for 1 year, maybe 2 max. Now you can get these guys for 3-4 years, develop them, keyword, develop them out of junior college. And again, at that age, they're going to be a lot, more developed. So it should be easier for you to prepare them to play. So you might want to load up on junior college players in the interim until you can truly get who you want on this roster. Because if you don't fill these holes at O-line and D-line, this is it for them. This is their last season. I'm sorry. It's over.
Well,
and you mentioned the portal closing. Sorry, Daniel. The portal's closing in a couple of days. But Marvin, somebody in the chat reminded us it's only one portal now. There is no spring portal. And I need to remind you, too, in a couple of days, players who are declaring for the draft have to declare for the draft. We're still looking at Yanze Pierre possibly going to the draft. Keon Sabb possibly going to the draft. If they go, that's more we have to replace quality, experienced pieces to this defense.
Well, let's be real. The last time we had a quarterback with this talent and upside, he had to run for his life and make everything happen in Bryce Young.
Hold on, Petty. Somebody in the comment section says, sorry, I still believe in DeBoer. He took 3 stars at Washington and made it to the national championship. With that kick-ass schedule playing in what was the Pac-12 at the time, that's now basically gone, that nobody was – hell, I could have went out there with a couple of my homeboys and we could have damn competed against that.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. He did some great work over in the Pac-12, but it was more like the Pac-2. It was Oregon and Washington and whoever else was decent that year. Go ahead.
No, sorry. Go ahead, Justin. Finish it. But fits matter. I want you to work. Fits matter in this too. Like you can be a good coach at one place and not fit somewhere else. I mean, sometimes it just don't work.
I mean, you could be a great husband, a great boyfriend, but that doesn't mean you're gonna be great with every woman. Shit, hey, I'm just saying it ain't always compatible.
Wait.
Well,
you telling me I wouldn't be a great husband to someone?
Well, Pettey, you are the exception, not the rule.
Okay. Sorry, I mean, it's just that's the man. It's
Well, but the reality of it is, if we don't address our needs at O-line and D-line, next season, it's going to be a long damn season. That's all I'm going to say. But again, you look at what we did this year. We couldn't run the ball. We struggled to stop the run. So now it's just like, what do we do with a bare cupboard?
Man.
And then you also look at linebacker. There's not a lot of experience at linebacker coming in outside of Justin Hill. Fantastic player. Love what he's going to be like. But you're coming in with a guy from Virginia Tech who is transitioning to playing linebacker, former safety, still trying to learn the position. Tons of talent.
Hey, listen, let me tell you something. Let me stop you
That's
right
the thing.
there.
You don't have experience.
Hold on. Let me stop you right there.
You knew Justin that was going to get stopped,
the
right?
fact
When
that
you
he's
mentioned safety and
transitioning from safety to linebacker. Listen, that ain't no easy transition. Let me tell you that right now. You think it's easy to go from back here where nobody's around you, where you barely get touched, to now you got to walk your ass down in this box where you have 6'5", 6'6", 320, 330-pound grown men who are trying to kill you every play? You think that's easy?
Oh, no, not at all. I'm not applauding it, but I'm just alluding
but
to
that's
the fact
what I'm saying. The fact that that's what we're placing our damn hopes on, it's ridiculous. It's absurd. The fact that this is where we're going to hang our hat, right?
And Brock wants me to stop it. I'm just being real. We don't have the experience at linebacker coming back outside of Justin Hill. And you got a guy who's still trying to figure out position. We got some guys, diamonds in the rough, some guys who are great coming in, young guys. Luke Metz, I'm excited about what he's going to do. Xavier Griffin, the number one linebacker in this current class, excited about what he's going to do. QB Reese has potential as well, but experience matters in the SEC.
Yeah, experience matters because, hell, when you sitting in there and that quarterback's making adjustments, that tight end step off the ball, he goes in motion, somebody else resets on this side, and you got to account for who's eligible, who's not eligible. Running backs one by one on the quarterback screen draw possibilities. It's so much shit you have to count and factor so quickly. Middle linebackers and quarterbacks are essentially human computers. You have less than a second to make the most accurate decision you can, and you better pray it's right. That ain't easy. And to take a kid out of high school and ask him to do that, good luck.
All right, I think that we've done well with this, and it can actually lead off into this next topic here. And this was a topic suggested by a fan. Is Courtney Morgan to blame for all the portal misses, exits, and misses? Seen on Twitter and all the other social media platforms here, a lot of fans are coming hard at Courtney Morgan. It's funny with a difference of a few months makes. Y'all were praising his name. Y'all are ready to erect a statue, but now you've turned against him. Some of you have been pretty harsh about it. So what is the answer here? Is Courtney Morgan to blame? Marvin, Daniel? Is it Kalen DeBoer? Is it the other coaches? Where do we point the fingers?
How do you blame Courtney Morgan for this? He's not the one out there supposed to be developing him on the field. Courtney Morgan's not the one out there controlling this $20-something million that they have. That should be a whole lot more. Courtney Morgan isn't out here leading fundraising efforts. Courtney Morgan isn't the one on the front lines doing all that.
No, Marvin, salesman. A salesman's only as good as the product he has to sell.
That part. If you're selling a damn lemon, you're selling a damn lemon.
Hard to sell lemons.
And after two back-to-back four-loss seasons, it's looking real lemonish right now.
But we also have to come to reality, guys. We don't have the NIL funds that Texas, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas Tech,
Well,
and I
that's
can
what I
keep going
just
on.
said. You
It-
know, but that goes back to my point earlier, the boosters. You
Right,
know,
Justin?
do you feel like you don't have to pay this money because it's Alabama and these guys should want to come here? If you go into the south end zone of Bryant-Denny Stadium, there's a wall of donors. They all have donated at least $1 million to get their picture on that damn wall. The wall is long and it just goes and it goes and it goes. So clearly there's people out here with the money. If they could just donate the money for the fun of it to get some damn seats in the damn football stadium, surely you can contribute to this NIL if you want a damn win, because that's the reality of it. You're in a pay-to-play situation. So until you come to terms with that and accept that that A is not going to cash as a check in nobody damn bank, you need blue bills, then you'll solve this problem.
Well,
Well,
let me ask you this, Justin and Marvin. So let's ask this question, though. Is Courtney to blame? We have heard that Courtney's not into the big game, and I get that. You don't need to bid for every player. And a great example is Cam Coleman. You don't need to place money when you need it in other positions, because that'll burn you just as bad as if you're wasting money on a position that's not a need. But there are some guys that you need, and it might be worth the bid game. And let's be real, it's not about the color or the sticker on the helmet anymore. We're in a transactional game right now. It's pro sports. It's not about I grew up loving this team. We just saw a Tuscaloosa guy who has his face all over the damn the oldest franchise in the city's taco thing go to Texas A&M. So guys, we're in full transactional. So I mean, there is some like, hey, man, you got to play this game. You got to tamper. You're being tampered with. You better be tampering. And like you said, I don't know if we got so comfortable getting the Nick Saban benefit for so long and everybody else was learning to play the NIL game like Missouri and Ole Miss and these other programs that learned to break the glass ceiling. But you can't rest on your laurels now, because I don't know, man. There's a lot of chicken and egg with this shit right now. But again, you do hear rumblings that Morgan don't like to play the big game. I get it. You got to be smart with where you go with that. But some of these guys you're going to have to play the damn game with.
But we're not spending the big dollars on the position of need either. But Pettey, I want to go back to some of the things you mentioned. First of all, I think a lot of Alabama fans don't realize having Nick Saban made up for the lack of NIL. And then when he left, you got this 2-year window, this free look window to see, is Alabama still Alabama? Does that brand still mean something? And then when it came to a crashing halt, the 3 losses we got obliterated in, with the cherry on top being Indiana, it all changed. And yes, you are right. A lot of the boosters, the donors and whatnot, still had the mindset. They're still they're still sticking their chest out. They're arrogant and saying, well, we don't have to do that. We're Alabama. Hey, newsflash, it ain't the same anymore. You've got to play the game, like Pettey said. And do we have a lot of billionaires? No. But several millionaires can pull together and produce funds that can bring the big name players we need on the positions of need. And I'm sorry, folks, I don't like it, but this is the way the game is right now until regulations are put into place.
They better go out there to Brookwood and turn on them damn oil, them derricks out there and get the drilling out there in Brookwood, start digging up some more coal.
And we talked about it. We talked about it, and this is something Bama fans, especially the Blue Hairs, don't like to hear. But you look up at Knoxville, Tennessee, and what do they got on their field? They've got a logo on their field now that's sending them money. What's one of the oil what was it? Hell, why am I forgetting who's on their field? But hell, Ole Miss has got Pilot. Ole Miss has got Aflac. It's time to start thinking outside that box to get that kind of money into your program. And I know it's corporate. I know it's against all the old ways and whatnot. You know what also kids like? They like a little bit of freshness. Maybe a white helmet on the field. Just some little different stuff, Marvin. We talked about it. These kids are different.
Nobody's showing up in Tuscaloosa for that A anymore. Those days are gone. It's about what's going to be on that check. How many zeros, how many commas. That's what they care about. So, and again, you look at the programs that can probably get away with the lesser because they're going to have fun. You know, they're going to have the alternate uniforms. They're going to do other things. It's the culture. You can kind of offset, the funds if you have culture. We ain't got neither one of the two.
And development. Kids won't be developed.
Yep.
I mean, you have players who are leading. I don't know if you noticed what Georgia Tech's doing in Atlanta. They are loading up on quality talent now from Alabama. and other schools right now because they want to be developed by Brent Key. So if y'all hadn't noticed, is a hell of a coach and can get players to the NFL. So that development does make up for lack of NIL too. So let's go on to the sponsor. Hey, we had the lights turned on, and they're very nice lights. We bring you the best content we can possible. Well, there's a reason for that, and that's Smith Infinity of Huntsville. Daniel, tell the folks about our great sponsor.
That's right, man. Smith Infinity of Huntsville, great family, great people, great Alabama family. And if you are in the market for a new vehicle, you're in the Huntsville area, heck, anywhere in Alabama, you can drive on up to Huntsville and give these guys a check out. Smith Infinity, if you're looking for that QX80 like Marvin likes to drive around in the big ride, or maybe the QX60 sedan because it's a little more sporty like my man Justin, whatever you need, these guys can take care of you. And look out, man, we maybe got some stuff in the works to get something going with these guys around springtime to have Marvin, some of those pretty faces up there writing some names on stuff and maybe doing a show. So be on the lookout. But yeah, Smith Infinity, one of the newest sponsors. I think, man, even our man Kenneth Darby's giving those guys a call, might be looking in a new ride. So, man, sponsors, you know what that is? That's sponsors doing work. So sponsors, if you're out there listening, we bring money to you, baby. We bring money to you. So look, check out Smith Infinity of Huntsville today. If you're in the area, which means you're in the state of Alabama, give them a call. Go check out some good Roll Tide people and get that Infinity on the ground today. Let's go.
Love it. Love it. All right, let's move right along. Let's touch a little bit more on this whole brand thing. We're fixated on that. I still hear the talk. Well, it's a script A. Well, the brand isn't enough. And I think we need to go into further detail about that. Listen, the brand is only working, let me tell you how. It's being used as leverage by players so they can get bigger contract offers in other schools. We just saw that a few days ago with Hollywood Smothers and then Cam Coleman headed to Texas. Alabama is no longer the bully bringing in recruits and taking from other schools. We are the ones who are being taken from. So the brand just isn't enough. Let's keep talking about it. Talk to me, Pettey, and then we'll go to Marvin.
Yeah, and I'll say this, man. Look, it's not enough, but it's not dead either. And that's where when people, I've said this on prior shows, this is where the blue blood thing gets misconstrued but can play in your favor. Because you're a blue blood, if things are going right, everybody's pulling in the right direction, it's easier to get done. Nick Saban can take it to places other programs can't go, even with maybe him. But on the flip side, that doesn't make you impervious to where we are now if things are going bad. And that's a problem, and people aren't pulling in the wrong direction. Saban put a mask on things that needed to be done in this new era. A lot of, Justin, you call them out. Call out the boosters, man. You've got the money, but this era has changed. You got to change with it. And the brand isn't enough. You've got to, Marvin put it eloquently, man. These kids are different. This is a transactional era. They're not going there because – and hell, let's be real, man. The further we get removed, what are we, 6 years, 5 years, 6 years removed from Nick Saban, 7 years removed from Nick Saban's dominance? That's seventh graders. They don't, man, that now what they've grown up the last 5 years is watching Georgia, watching Ohio State. So no, until you make things fresh again. And I think people forget that. We're all older, man. We go back to 92 national championships. We got guys that go on back to Johnny Musso and the 78, 79 games and, stuff like that. But these kids that are playing now, they think of, like you said, they think of the freshness of Oregon and all the stuff that they do with the Nike and things like that. So, no, man, it's enough to us, but us don't matter anymore. That ain't the world of football where we're in it. I get it, and it's addiction. We're all addicted to it. We don't care. Like, I thought all this shit would break football. All we heard all the 5 years ago when NIL, it's football's over as we know it. Well, guess what? People are still filling up the stadiums because we're so addicted to the uniforms and the universities we went to and loved and fell in love with that we don't care that we have to learn a whole new damn roster every year now. We're still showing up for it as long as there's hope that our team can get the almighty W. But, that's the problem, that isn't enough right now. We're not getting it done. So, no, the brand isn't enough in this era. And until Bama's as great as it is such a traditionalist place. Like, it's hard for this university to adapt to new, because it's, we do things the Bama way, right? Well, that's not the way anymore. So no, it's not enough in this era, but I will always argue that brand can always rise when things are being pulled in the right direction. You just got to get the right stuff. You got to get the right ingredients.
Marvin?
Listen, man, when you say, why isn't the brand enough? It starts with the leader. When you have a leader that walks into a room, doesn't matter how many people are there, and he commands that room without saying a damn word, that's a leader. Does our current coach do that? I don't see that. Coach Saban walked in a room, you best believe everybody named Mama shut up and turn. No matter how short he was, everyone shut up.
Yeah.
Trust and believe that. But what did that man also do regularly? He used something to his advantage that helped build his brand. You regularly seen him advertise the amount of first-round draft picks in the dollar amount that he has made them throughout his career, with all these first-rounders, 4 and 5, year after year after year. How many first-rounders did we have last year?
2.
What 2 was that?
We had Jahad Campbell
On the line.
and Tyler Booker.
Okay. This year, how many are we going to have?
We got Caden Proctor and possibly LT Overton. Maybe
LT's
Jeremy
not going
Bernard.
to go. LT will probably be a mid to late second-round pick.
Maybe Jeremy Bernard.
Bernard, mid to late second-round, early third-round pick. Speed's going to kill him. Now, so you're looking at one potential first rounder. So you're looking at this man potentially having 3 first-round picks. 2 of them we're going to have to take from him because those are Coach Saban's guys. So 1 first rounder this year, how many are we going to potentially have moving forward? That's a strong selling point as a coach, because that goes back to my main point, development. If you're not developing players, how are you going to get them to be first and second round draft picks that you can hang your hat on, so that when you don't have the NIL money that other schools have, that you can at least say, hey, we develop guys, and at least I can get you to the NFL and you'll get your money on the back end. But if you can't even do that, you're screwed.
Absolutely. And right now we're just being used as a farm system, so that other places like Texas and Oregon, Georgia Tech, and name any other school can come and pluck out what they want and build their team up. And everyone who is wanting to talk about lack of production by some of these guys, when all of a sudden you see Quay Russaw and James Smith become All-Americans at Ohio State and number 1 draft picks or first-round draft picks, then ask your question what the problem was. All right, guys, we have talked enough, but before we go to the audience, what we're going to do is talk about our other sponsor. Marvin, tell the folks what they need, not only to cheer the Tide on in basketball, but to get through this offseason before the A-Day comes around.
Hey, make sure you visit whitwellsports.com, enter the promo code the Bama Standard for your 10% off discount. Listen, I'm sure Coach Nate Oates is going to have the basketball team prepared, ready for another run. Hopefully this year it's going to be Final Four or bust, baby. But while you're there in Coleman Coliseum, make sure you have your title towels, whether you're in Coleman or at home on your couch, baby. Visit whitwellsports.com, enter the promo code the Bama Standard for your 10% off discount.
Absolutely. And thank you, Whitwell Sports, for being a solid sponsor of ours, I think, since we opened the doors, right? Couldn't do it without you. We're very grateful to both you and Smith Infinity of Huntsville. Let's turn it over to the audience. It's time for you to be heard. So listen, I want you to ask all the questions. Let's get it out. This is your opportunity to vent, to talk. There is no stopping what you got to say, guys. No filters, no sunshine pumping, just real. So let's get right to it. We're going to start out with Slab Buster. Yeah, Marvin, they don't understand or care, just chasing that money.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the nature of today's game. You know, it is what it is, you know. So either you're going to get on board or you're going to get left. And clearly right now we're getting left.
And not every player is just chasing a bag. Some want playing time. Some want that opportunity to develop. That's a big piece. And get an opportunity to go to the league and go from a 5th-round pick to maybe a 2nd or perhaps 1st-round pick. That's a ton of money that you're possibly losing if you don't grow at your position. But also, too, man, some are being told to leave. This be honest here. It's not just chasing money. Players, not just Alabama, but at other locations are being told, hey, we need you to move on so we can bring our guys in. So just take a look at the whole picture and don't just throw it on the kids for chasing money, but also, too, we can't just blame kids for money, right, Marvin? Would you turn down millions of dollars? And plus, it's learned behavior. It's taught behavior. This is the way it is right now. There are no rules.
It's
no
not
regulations.
learned. It's not learned behavior. Hell, most of these kids, the majority, are playing football to change their circumstances and their family circumstances. So the fact that, hell, I can change them right now, give me the damn money. Listen, a lot of y'all don't understand what it feels like to be hungry at night, to watch your mom work 2 and 3 jobs, to see the power and the internet off regularly, and you got to go to somebody's restaurant to try to do your homework. Yeah, a lot of y'all don't understand what that feels or looks like. So you can't blame these kids for doing something that's going to change their and their families' lives. Now, what you can be mad about is the institutions and them not regulating it. You can be mad at all of that. You can be mad at schools for not developing them when they get them, but you cannot be mad at these kids for getting what's owed to them. You cannot.
No, and Lisa McClendon even said you can't be mad at the kids for chasing the money. Hell no, that's the system that's created. They would be fools not to.
Pettey,
they would be crazy not to go after.
Pettey, I'll tell you like this. You know what my coach always used to tell me? He said, I need y'all to go to class because you came to college to get a degree so you can get a job. Yeah, you can get a job in college while you get a degree. You better take that damn job.
Yeah, right. And if you can make more in college while getting than you can with that degree, you better do it. Look, no, man, don't blame these kids. I don't blame the kids at all.
No, they deserve to be paid. I mean, let's go to Jimmy Clay, who is throwing money our way. Thank you so much, brother. $2. Tell it like it is. Let's go, Bama. Thank you, Jimmy Clay. We greatly appreciate you, brother. Don Parker, $5. How many times do I need to say it? DeBoer is not that dude. Let's all face reality. He has taken a Lambo and turned it into a Pinto. And it's almost on blocks. See, Joe Edwards, 8829. Do you all think there will be some changes up top after the portal closes, like special teams and offensive line coaches?
Hell, I'm firing everybody. If I'm the head coach, I'm getting rid of everybody. What the hell you mean?
I mean, I know is that wishful thinking, or is there actual rumblings that people like Cat might get the?
There is no rumblings. There is nothing to support that coaches are going to leave. From all indications, they're going to remain right there. Now, are there positions that need to be changed? Absolutely. And we probably could name about 3 replacements off the rip if we were questioning about it, but it doesn't look like anything's changing. Thank you, Joe Edwards. Let me go to Don Parker, $5. Develop. This staff can't develop players, but that ice cream. Big Worm may as well be on the staff now. I mean,
told somebody in chat the No A Day this year they're replacing it with an ice cream eating contest.
Well, Mayfield is one of our sponsors. All right, RK Young. My question is, why in the hell did Byrne hire outside the Saban coaching tree? I wonder if he's asking himself the same question right now.
Well, if I remember correctly, wasn't there rumblings that Saban kind of recommended DeBoer, or did I dream that up?
Can we tell the truth, or do we just be politically correct?
I'm not here to be PC. I don't give a crap.
I've been told there was a list of preferred replacements, but it has been made clear that they want to move on from the Saban era, and they want to remove that and make the DeBoer era officially start. So
it started and stopped as soon as they hired him. Shit.
I mean, I get that hiring a Saban coach tree is like the whole Targaryen thing. You're flipping a coin. Either they're going to be crazy or great. The coin's flipped more towards the good side here lately, it seems. But
All right. See, so Jordan Renaud is leaving too. Yes, he is. It's about an hour ago. It was announced that Jordan Renaud is entering the transfer portal. So another key depth piece, and I've seen comments already. Well, he only had X amount of tackles and X amount of sacks. Again,
Hey man, listen, people don't
experience.
understand, man. It goes deeper than that. Here's the damn thing you don't get. Okay, how many D linemen are on scholarship right now? You still have to practice. You don't even have enough bodies to actually hold a practice right now. There's a problem. You have no depth. If someone gets hurt, that's a problem. You lack depth across the board in O-line, D-line, and linebacker. You can't even hold a damn practice right now. That's a problem.
Well, he's a little bit late, but he is definitely not soft-spoken. Ladies and gentlemen, we did promise a guest, and that's none other than the pastor and Payne himself, Corey Miller. Corey, glad to have you in, brother. What's going on?
What's up, guys? Apologize for my tardiness. I'm on different time, and I got messed up, so I apologize. I was driving back to Greenville, and I'm like, oh, man, I think I messed up. So, sorry.
You won the award for the clearest service in a car of any guest of all time.
Yeah, we need to know who your provider is because so far no one has come close to that.
Well, you know, man, I got this internet in the old vehicle. You know, they charge you for that. You know what I'm saying? I got the net while I'm driving because I be on the phone and on Zoom while driving, so I'm prepared.
Mr. Moore, that's the best bill you could pay out. Listen, I refuse to turn mine off. I pay that every month religiously.
Hey, man, somebody. So,
Corey, I caught you this earlier today. I've been catching you for the past several episodes of the Miller's Edge.
yeah.
We need to hear from you, man. We know that you're not going to sugarcoat anything. A lot of Alabama fans are panicking. Some aren't. Some are trying to act like everything's fine in this Crimson utopia. Where do you stand?
Well, you know, listen, I think they're right in panicking. I mean, I heard you talking about the lines, the trenches, players gone, you know, losing players in the portal that they really wanted. You know, there's a saying here in the country, we said there's a dead cat on the line. And I think there's a dead cat down in Tuscaloosa. And I don't know what's happening. Here's what I do know. They got a roster or had a roster full of 5 and 4 stars, and people get all excited about that. And to a degree, I can understand. But in today's game, in today's world of college football, it doesn't matter because you're dealing with a bunch of young guys now that's getting a check. Now that has, you know, the car they want, they got the check they want, they wear the clothes they want. You know, the hunger, the thirst of hoping one day to make it to the league, you know, that's gone because they're about the college bag and not so much the pro bag. And I just feel like, and I was telling Christian this today, when you watch Alabama, Indiana, right? And I look at Indiana, if you saw both these teams simultaneously getting off the bus, you're going to look at Alabama and you're going to go, wow. I mean, they passed all the measurable tests, length, size, strength. They look like a championship team, okay? You look at Indiana get off the bus and you go, wow. They got a bunch of dudes that are happy to be on the roster. They have a bunch of dudes that look like they're going to be teaching biology and science and trigonometry and all these things in high school when they finish playing. But when you watch the game, it was totally different. I saw a team in Indiana that was more physical, that had more want to, that had more drive, and they acted like they cared. And in Alabama's case, it was like, we're just here. Nobody cared. Nobody yelling and screaming on the sideline at each other, that they're getting busted in the mouth by this team that just started winning the last 2 years, okay? And you just didn't lose, and this team, you know, had trickeration and all these weird plays and, you know, just funny things happen in the game, and you lose. That wasn't the case. You got dominated by Indiana. No, I'm not talking about basketball. This was football. And I got a problem with that. And that made me question the heart of these young men. It just, that is not Alabama. That's not who you are. That's not what you represented. You got your show called the Bama Standard. There is a standard, or there was a standard in which they played by. There was a standard that older players that have come through this program looked at these and judged them by. That's why former players are peed off. That's why Marvin is peed off. Like, this is not Alabama. I don't know who this team is right now, but I do know this. I know money changes things. I know money can change your will and your desire about how you compete and how you go about your business. They weren't standing on any type of business as it pertained to football, and that's a problem. And I think it starts with the leader. You start at what I love Kalen DeBoer as a person, as a man. I think he's tremendous. Somebody I want to sit down with, talk to. I don't drink, but if I had to drink beer, I want to have a beer with him. But, man, I don't know. I don't know if he's that guy, if he's Signetti, if he's Mario Cristobal. Is he a Nick Saban-like that we play to a standard from the guys on the football field, from the training room, from the nutrition staff, to whatever. Everybody is expected to operate in the spirit of excellence. That has left that building. And so if you're a fan watching Alabama now, you go, I'm concerned, because I don't know if this is a guy to really get this going again. I respect he took this job coming after Nick Saban. Very difficult, but, man, this to me is just not happening. And I think they're in serious trouble because everybody else now, because of the transfer portal, I think they have caught up. I think they got just as much talent across the board. I think they got guys that are hungry and want to dominate Alabama. They still want to beat Alabama, and Alabama hasn't raised the standard to meet it. And the coach always told me, you gotta meet that physicality with physicality, and they are not doing that. And so I think that's a major problem.
Well, that, and one of my coaches always said, either you coaching it or you allowing it. It's one of the two. You can't go out here blaming the players for what's happening on this field. You're the coaches. You're the ones who are leading. You're supposed to facilitate here. So you can't blame them for things going wrong. And then when you look at what we have left with what's left to go jump into the portal, this team is set up for a disaster right now because you don't have enough time to build this roster. I'm sorry, you don't. The portal's getting ready to close, and all that leaves you is National High School Signing Day. And again, if you think you're going to fill the roster with 17 and 18-year-olds against these 22 and 23-year-olds, it ain't happening.
Yeah, and that's the other problem. You look at Indiana, you look at the age of their roster. They go out and they get mature guys that have played a lot of snaps, meaningful snaps. Miami, same thing. I mean, so you can't win with 4 and 5 star 17, 18-year-old guys. They may look good, but you're not going to win at the highest level with them.
Can I tell you something? Green Bay and the Eagles roster is only a year and a half. Average age is a year and a half older than Indiana's. Right. The Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles roster, average age is a year and a half older than Indiana's.
It's crazy.
So, Corey, where do we place the blame? We talked about it earlier. A lot of fans looking towards the coaching staff, rightfully so. Like you said, there is no accountability. There's no line in the sand demanding discipline. There is no development. That's the biggest, most glaring piece I see in the whole situation. We've talked about that at length. Fans are turning against Courtney Morgan as well. They praised him. They wanted to make a statue for him right next to Nick Saban out there in front of the stadium. Now they're calling him all kinds of names except friend. He doesn't even have a friend in Jesus right now. So where does the blame fall? And listen, Courtney Morgan had something in Michigan where he got his claim to fame that he doesn't have at Alabama an unlimited wallet to go out and pay for the dudes to field a team. It's a little bit different now, but to you, where do you see the blame being placed?
I mean, I blame it. It's always the coaches. It's whoever's leading. Listen, I'm the pastor of 1334 Church. I told this to my trustee board. If something happens with my ministry, that church, even if you can look at, well, the worship team not doing their job, they're not singing good enough, or the youth pastor's not doing, I get the blame, and I have to take the responsibility. Same thing as a head coach. This is your program. You are responsible for every piece of this program. And this program goes based on you. Players always take on the persona of their coach that runs based on how the coach is, right? And unfortunately, and I said this and kind of jokingly about Kalen DeBoer, I called him a substitute teacher. You know, when your teacher goes out of the classroom and then you got a substitute, boy, you act up. You ain't working hard. You're not going to do the work that you're really supposed to. You're throwing spit balls or spit whatever they call it with the straws. You're not being who you need to be. Kalen DeBoer strikes me as that. When he came in, it was like replacing Nick Saban. It was like a substitute teacher. And guys they were showing up at meetings, not on time. They probably weren't working out the way they were supposed to. They weren't held accountable. Use that word accountable. That's a problem. Again, West Coast, it might work for a little bit. It don't work in the Southeast. It don't work in this conference. It definitely does not work at Alabama. He has to take the blame. And listen, their problem is kids are not coming anymore because of the script A. They're not coming anymore because you show them the trophy case. You show them the ring case. They don't care. You know how I know? That the example, the Smothers guy, right? He committed. Then he goes to Texas, him and his agent, and they go, what? You going to give us what? I don't care how many rings they got. I don't care how many trophies are in that case. I care about this check that's going to be direct deposited in my account. And so I'm going to Texas. And so if you don't pay guys today, especially when you get that top echelon of players, if you're not willing to open up the wallet and say, man, we got to have this guy. We got to fill this position, left tackle, running back, corner, whatever it may be, edge rusher, and we're going to have to pay. And if you say I'm not going to pay, check this out. How has that worked out for Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers?
It hasn't, and it's not going to work.
And it's not going to work out. So if they don't decide to pay money and jump into the game, then Alabama is going to really start to drop down the scale. And we've already seen that the last couple of years.
But you know what it goes. You know what it goes back to, though.
Hold on, real quick, Marvin. The agent K's talking about. He chimed in, but he says that doesn't work long term. Talking about, but there is no long term. Long term. No. What is long term? There's not that.
It's now. Like you want to
now. Well, here's the thing. You talk long term. These kids don't worry about long term. I keep saying this. No, so these kids are not. They're playing to change their circumstances and their family circumstances. So if I can go change my circumstance right now and get this $5 million, opposed to you offering me $500, I'm taking the $4 or $5 million. I'm sorry. Nobody's beating their body up for damn fun. They're doing this for a reason. If I can get to that reason now, I'm gonna take it. That's how a lot of them play.
Listen, if I had to go through this with my son with Christian right now, and if he came to me talking about I'm gonna go to Bama for $500, but South Carolina want to give me 3.9. I wish he would come. Well, we going to get the 3.9, bro.
Yeah.
Period. There's no questions. I don't care how many rings. I don't care about the tradition. Nick Saban, you cool, but 3.9.
That, and when you look at the wear and tear and the quality of life later in life, you better get as much as you can, as early as you can, for as long as you can.
So if I'm like Gay Alabama, Greg Byrne, what you gonna do? Look, listen, South Carolina right now, Shane Beamer is on the ropes, bro. And after the 4-8 season, they were, top 15 ranked. Everybody was high on these 5-star offensive linemen. Everybody in the country wanted them, blah, 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 blah. We got Lenore Sellers. He's a Heisman hopeful. It looked beautiful. Then they go out there and they peed down their legs, right? So now he's got a year. He had to change coordinators. He had to go pay a couple of million. So you got to go get the best coaches. You got to pay for them. You want the best OC? You're going to have to pay for them. You can't say I'm going to get my friend and I can give him $900. No, you better go pay the guy $2 million. Pay him his value. Go pay so they get that guy. They paying all of these guys. They actually got to beat Alabama for a guy because they paid more money. That's the only chance they got. So, if you're going to just say we ain't paying, then don't expect results. You can expect mediocrity. You can expect, if you're Alabama, 9, 10, 11 wins, maybe. If you're South Carolina, you might get 4, you might get 7. And so it's about the money, guys. I don't like it. I think they have, and Nick Saban told them, this thing, that there's no guardrails. this thing gonna crash and burn. They're running off the cliff. And that's what's happening. You got young men, most of which African-American young guys come from a lot of single homes, single parent homes. They don't have the income. They're struggling. Mom and them, and then whoever, their Pop Warner coach that's in this life, and now agents, whatever you want to call them, they gonna chase money because NFL isn't guaranteed. Matter of fact, you got 99% chance that you're never going to play in the NFL. So if I can get money now, if I can get $500, $5 million now, I'm taking it. Period. And then that's the end of the story. So Alabama, you got to get in the game or you're going to get left behind. And this is the story that's happening with Clemson right now. The fans are going nuts because Dabo won't go out there. He stick his toe in the water. He gonna get a guy from Purdue. He may go get one guy here, but he ain't really attacking the transfer portal. Oh, I'm about character. I'm about, getting the right guys for the locker room. That sounds great. But at the end of the day, winning 7-8 games and losing in the bowl game, you're not gonna have a job.
Bowl now too.
Tell him he better call Jim Harbaugh, find out what that. All right.
So,
but Pastor, didn't you also make the comment? I don't know how long ago it was that, character's fantastic, but we need to get guys that are smoking Newports and Black and Mild that you have to get under control by Saturday.
Yeah, bro. I need me some Rubens out there, bro. I need me some dudes out there after the game. Hey, they lighting it up, dog. They can't. Well, I would say they couldn't afford this, but they can't. They smoke better cigars than I do. I mean, but you need some of them dudes that's gonna get some blacks. You're going to get some Newports after the game. You got some that they going to fight you. You got to have some man, you got to have dudes in the locker room. I said this too today. Miami mimics Alabama right now to me because Mario Cristobal has found a way to get some young guys in. He has developed them. Bain, some of them guys that have been in the program, they have come up to be great players. But then he went in the portal. He's got a Carson Beck paying him all this money. A guy that has started numerous games in the SEC. Okay, he don't have to throw for 10,000 yards. He's a great manager. You put weapons around him, and guess what? You got some dudes up front on the offensive line. They run the ball. They punch you in the mouth. They don't care if you know what they're doing. They're physical on defense. They're physical on the offense. He gets it. He gets it. And look at Indiana. They get guys that are hungry, but they get guys that have played snaps, 23, 24-year-old quarterback that looks like a science teacher. Goofy as heck. I love him because he loves Jesus, but he's goofy. I mean, Alabama let him run around like he's Randall Cunningham. I mean, come on, bro. What's wrong with this picture? So if you're a fan, you better be worried. The days of glory, I think, are gone for Alabama unless they get the right guy in place that gets it, and they get people that say we're going to spend money to get back to prominence again. And that's the only way it's going to happen. So to me, it's hurtful as a fan of Alabama. It's hurtful to see what I see on the football field, to see guys that got Mercedes-Benz, some of them got two of them that don't care. And that, to me, drives me nuts.
So when HaHa was seemingly going after fans this past week, we took it wrong, and we were very upset. But was that more a jab at the fans or also a jab at the boosters to say, hey, if you want the big guys, y'all going to have to open your wallets?
Yeah, I think it's a jab at both, really. I mean, the fans mad because guys are transferring, and he's saying, turn on the tape. He's saying we got guys. Look how they're playing. You're looking at rankings. I'm looking at the film. I'm seeing the guy who's a 5-star getting drugged by a 2-star. Right. So don't be mad because this guy's like.
But that goes back to what? Developing talent. You're not going to tell me you have a roster with that many 4 and 5 stars and they all suck. You got to develop them at some point.
The offensive line coach, I said from day one, Coach Mack wasn't the answer. I said from day one, and they told me I'm hating on Alabama. You don't know what you're talking about. Blah, blah. You ought to heard them. I need to go back and pull up some of them tape. They was crushing me. But now look at it. I mean, Come on, man. Them dudes look like Tarzan. I mean, look, this offensive line, bro. If I were just going by what I saw with my eyes off the bus, I'm like, that's the NFL offensive line.
Yeah, but
They played like JV football.
Too big, and that was one of the things I've been saying for the past 2 years when they were
They
trying
got
to celebrate
problems,
their
man.
size.
And so
Too big.
I don't know
Footwork's
what
not
the
good in space.
answer is.
They
I
gotta work
think
on
they
that
got a
footwork.
lot of problems.
Oh yeah.
I think they got to go get an offensive line coach. Ryan Grubb I'm totally disappointed in him. I mean, I thought it was a severe upgrade from Nick Sheridan. He come in here and I didn't think it was good. The offensive line can't protect. The offensive line, they can't run block. You have no running game. You got all these big physical dudes, Hill and others in the backfield. They can run the football, but they can't run if the dude ain't blocking it in front of them. I mean, defensively is okay. It ain't great. It's okay. So I think they got to make some decisions. I think we're going to see some changes somewhere in the coaching staff. You got to have that. You got to have somebody off the trenches. You got to be good. You got to be great. Alabama in all those great years since I've been following 10, 12 years, their offense and defensive lines, when they're at their best, were the best, right? And now you look at the defensive line, you're going, they got nobody can rush the passer. They don't look at Will Anderson. They don't have that dude. They don't have that dude, the quarterback and the OC. They're changing their scheme when they play Alabama because of those edges. They're not worried about guys on Alabama's defensive front. Offensive line, they're not worried about dudes over there because they're not physical. And that's on coach. So, listen, no development. None. This is a problem, man. I mean, it's a major problem. So, yes, fans, I'm going to tell you, you need to panic. If you anybody in their right mind looking at Alabama going, you got one guy, returning starter coming back. That's a freshman, right? On the offensive line.
And defensive
That's
line.
a problem. That's a major problem. That is a major problem. And you don't even really know what your quarterback's going to look like. That's a major problem. I mean, so going into 26, you're going, whoa. Bro, what we got to be excited about?
And linebackers.
And they don't understand why a running back decided to go to Texas over our situation right now.
More money and probably a much better offensive line and a quarterback that's decent.
And comments like this.
Certainty matters.
Bunch of fair weather Bama content creators. How is it fair? Is it fair weather because we go against a narrative? We go against the Crimson Utopia that's always put out there. We're being real. And need I remind you that three of the people on this panel were part of era of Alabama that was not anywhere near what Nick Saban produced. Marvin played in one of the most difficult eras of Alabama.
I won an SEC championship though, so we're not gonna act like we were destitute, busted, and broken now. Oh,
well, outside of that, probation, loss of scholarships, bowl bans.
Even the bad Bama coaches win 10 games. That's how good the brand is. That's why it can be good, because even the goofballs win 10 games at Bama.
Wow.
But fair. Yeah, I was at Bama for a decade. Come on, man. I was there for a lot of the bad. All the mics.
Question from Gunnersville Lake Fishing. How are we going to build a front seven in 3 days?
You're not.
You're not.
Looking at what's left in the portal, you're not. That's the reason why I said next season is going to be a long damn season, because it looks like you're going to have to lean on what you have and incoming freshmen that you get from high school on National Signing Day. It's going to be a long season.
Same way you get fried shrimp at top of the river at Lake Gunnersville. You don't. You get catfish.
This kind of plays into this question here, but are the players being evaluated properly while they are in high school to get those stars?
Ooh.
I've often said that these ratings are often very arbitrary, because if you look at, let's take Arch Manning, for example. A lot of people critiqued him and said he struggled in college, and they go back and they pull his film and you see who he played against. The talent is subpar at best. Most of these guys who are 4 and 5 stars in high school, they're playing against guys that they can get away with their athleticism. They can get away with their speed, their size, and their strength, and that's what makes them so much better than everyone else. So when you go to college and that playing field's starting to even out, that stuff no longer is going to give you that advantage. So that's when you have to actually develop the kid. And it takes a skilled recruiter to know when he has a guy that can take that skill set to the next level and actually transition, and he gets better. And I know Mr. Miller can tell you this. You've seen, just like I've seen, kids that were, 2 and 3 stars. They get into college, they put them in the weight room, they put them in the training table, they feed them, they put that muscle on, and they teach them the game, and they turn out to be damn all pros. Yeah. Again, it's all about what you do with them when you get them.
And the star system is the most flawed thing of all flipping time. Come on, let's be real. All these recruiting sites were started by in essence, fans that had money to do it, started watching game film of runny high school tapes and applying stars. And that's where it all started from. It's not like Nick Saban is scouting all these tapes and applying stars to these kids. Like, no, I'm with you. Like, it's a very flawed system to say, well, this kid's a 5-star. He's a guaranteed. Not. I mean, you can look at certain coaches when Nick Saban offers a kid, there's probably a good chance. Hell, if he's a 3-star, he probably is a 5-star. If Saban's put it, someone like that, or Kirby. But yeah, that's a flawed system with the whole stars.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I've never been a fan. I mean, I just remember telling Christian, listen, man, he was all about, well, I'm for this, and then, I'm like, here's the thing, be a 5-star. I'm gonna give you a star when your career is over at Alabama. Then I'll tell you what kind of star you was. Because what happens in the initial does not matter. Because I mean, there's probably a handful of players that anybody can go out and watch high school football and go, man, that dude's he's got great college potential. He's got size, he got length, he's got the measurables. He can run, or he can catch, or this quarterback can rip it. And there's a few guys that you can say they're the best of the best in high school. That's easy to see. What great recruiters do is find that guy that's not that, but they can see his future being a 5-star. And say, if they get in my system, I put them in the right system. I get them in the weight room. I get them on the right nutritional program. And then I got a coach that can teach and help him to develop as a player. And this guy's going to be special. Those are great recruiters. And so I don't get caught up into that, because if Indiana, who has four stars, if you want to go by that, they got 4 on their roster. But yet they drug Alabama by 3 touchdowns or whatever it was. They drug Oregon, who had both these schools got 55, 65, 4 and 5 stars, and they beat them by 3 and 4 touchdowns. Okay. Why? Because they're in a system. They got a coach that demands excellence. They play to a standard, and they are hungry. They are hungry, and they care about the guy that plays next to them. They care about the guy in the locker room. You can just tell it. I can sit there and watch a game, and I said, "What, Alabama, Indiana? This game's over. First quarter, I says over," because I looked at body language. I looked at the face when the camera panned to certain guys, and I'm like, they're not going to match the intensity. They are just there. They don't care. It don't even look like it mattered to them. Right, but on Indiana, but they playing Alabama, and they beating them down, bro. People across the country, they don't care. They know it's Alabama, and they drug them.
But Mr. Moore, part of that too, Alabama team, they players. I ain't being funny, but they probably worried about going out to go party when the game is over, minding other places. Indiana, they got wives and kids, they got families to worry about. So they been playing for a whole lot more.
I ain't lying. Listen, you get 6 years now to play college football against a guy, Ryan is 19, 18. These guys are talented, but Coach always told me this: experience always trumps talent.
Experience trumps talent, but then also physical development. You look at the body of a 17, 18-year-old versus that of a 22, 23-year-old. It's a completely different level of development.
Yeah, and Marvin, is so much more glaring, if you will, in the trenches, especially at the offensive line. You can't expect a young. That's the one position where you got to get in that weight room, and years of life helps you become better, right? Because it takes a while for an offensive lineman to develop. And if you're playing with young guys that never played, and you got a guy on the other side that's 22, a grown man, probably got children already, might be married. I mean, listen, what do you expect? I mean, so this is a problem. This
Mr.
is a
Moore,
problem that a lot of teams are having.
Mr. Moore, at me at 22,
More.
23 years old, if you had lined up a
I'll be more.
17, 18-year-old across from me, I mean, Pastor Payne, I'm sorry. If you had lined up a 17, 18-year-old across from me at 22, 23 years old, I'm sending him home to his mom in a box.
Yeah.
I'm sending him home in a box. That's
We
really
got
what's going to happen.
excellent point here from Lisa that ties into what you said earlier. Some players also get missed. I always wonder about players that have been overlooked, didn't play at a winning school, didn't have money to go to camps, etc. You also have to remember a lot of these kids are getting these stars, are getting them because they're going to these high dollar camps. They essentially are purchasing their stars. You have guys from bad areas, they're in the middle of nowhere, low income areas, don't get looked at because they're viewed as the lesser schools. Coach Saban still went out to those schools though and found those guys. But yeah, a lot of them are overlooked.
Yeah, I mean, heck, I'm just saying, like when I came up, I mean, I couldn't go to no camp. I mean, the only reason I went to the 1 or 2 camps I went to is because my high school coach, they paid for it and took me. Well, the only reason. I mean, so you're right in that. But the bottom line is this, guys. We're living in a college football world that has just gone off the tracks. And the game, I love the game. Okay. I'm old school, as y'all know. I love football. I just love the game. I'm a purist. And I think you play it a certain way. I think you got to have the right attitude and mindset about the game. This game gave me so much. Part of who I am today is because of this game called football. And it drives me nuts when I see young kids don't respect it and don't get what it means to have a chance to put on that script A or put on that block C as a South Carolina fan, and how of a blessing that it is to be able to go out there, man, and play this game, right? And now they look at it, I can get my podcast and I can get my Louis Vuitton bag and I got a nice whip and I can help mom. And that's all that matters. And it sends the wrong message. That kid's going to struggle in life. I love the work ethic. I love earning. Nobody's giving you anything. Go out and earn it. Go out and take it. Having that drive that I'm outwork the next guy because I want to get to this level. I came from a poor area, 2,500 people in my town. My parents were dirt poor, P-O-po. We were poor, bro. You know what I mean? And all I needed was an opportunity, and you go out and you work. I went from that 2,500 people city to playing in the big city, and next to Hall of Famers. Why? Because I worked my butt off, right? And it meant something, man. And these kids today don't get that. They looking for it now. They're looking for the bag now. They're looking for the Gucci now. They're looking for the Mercedes now. And the schools are buying in it. They got Lamborghinis, Texas, in the parking lot. Come on, bro. I mean, listen, what happened to all the Maximas and all the Altimas and then the Raggedy Ford F-150 pickup trucks? I mean, bro, that's what the parking lot used to look like, or riding your bicycle. I mean, I know times has changed, but college football is so messed up right now that it's even turning me against watching it sometimes. It really, and I watch all football, but college football, the way it is, where it's structured, where kids go to school that don't care, bothers me. I care about going back, being with my boys that with blood, sweat, and tears, Marvin, right? Boys that you bust heads with, you on the bus trip with, on the plane ride with, y'all sweat together, you cramped up together. It's something about going back 30 years later and you can be with them dudes. That's gone because these guys are hopping around to a team. Where they going to go back to? You going to Alabama? You going to go to South Carolina, Florida State? Which of them 4 schools in your college career you going to go back to? That's gone. That's a problem to me. It is not amateurism anymore. It's professional sports.
Yeah, the brotherhood is gone. Like I know, Mr. Moore, the guys
Transaction.
who play in the NFL, a lot of them, they don't have the same level of friends that they do with the guys they played with in college, because those
Correct.
bonds that are built in college, you're a lot closer with those guys. So, and that's across the board. Just like this weekend, I went to one of my, former teammates' mother's funeral, and there was some of my other teammates there. We hadn't seen each other, in some years, some of us, but again, we all got to Alabama in 1998 together. And the fact that we're sitting here in 2026, just like, nothing ever happened, like it's still 1998, but those were the brotherhoods and the bonds that were built. You don't have that anymore because everybody gone.
Yes, brother.
We got a super chat from Ray Parham, $5. Thank you. And Coach Katz, last year at Michigan State in 2023, they had average of 90 rushing yards per game. He has to go.
That would be amazing this year.
we're averaging 25 towards the end.
Yeah.
Bro, Alabama football you can't run the football. Unheard of. Unthinkable. It's unthinkable.
Yeah.
When they said on TV, Alabama, they can't run the football. And you go, I can't wrap my mind around this.
Not in my lifetime.
And I heard this from inside the locker room, so to speak. They had even a lineman that didn't even start at Alabama was making $500,000. $500,000. I ain't gonna say his name, but I was told that they had to pay him $500,000 to get him, and he can't even get on the field. And I'm saying to the person, like, then why is he there? I mean, they going in there and they're saying, demanding what they want. I mean, it is unreal.
So you're telling me they were willing to pay $500,000 to a guy who didn't see the field, but yet they won't go and pay the money to get the number one tackle in the portal in Jacarius Peak. We miss out on the area of need.
I'm just telling you, that came from a very, very reliable source. So I'm just going to tell you this too. Coaches are not happy about what's happening with those types of things. I was told they're not happy with this running back situation thing, that because somebody dropped the ball and didn't step up and get things done. So, I mean, who do you blame? Is it who's over the NIL? Is it Alabama is not over NIL. It's people within the school. And so you got that problem happening. Then you have, okay, this player's demanding, hey, you gonna play me? If I ain't playing, then I'm out. So they got that problem. So they feel like they got to get people on the field just because of what their so-called contract states. I mean, it's a lot of stuff, man. Lots.
Marvin, got a question from Corey Lewis. Who would you realistically hire to be the head coach?
Hell, I don't know. What you mean? No, that's a good question. It would definitely have to be someone who can come in and command not only the locker room, but the boosters and the fan base, because you're going to need someone who can, the boosters will be willing to give what they need in terms of NIL money. So you can't go out and get a guy from a small school, because he won't have a chance in hell with those boosters. And that's who he's going to need most. So, it's going to have to be a splash hire. It's definitely going to have to be a situation where you will probably have to break the bank. It's probably going to be a situation where you're going to have to pay this guy anywhere in the neighborhood of $12 to $15 million a year to get him to come to Alabama, whoever he's going to be. But it's going to have to be a big name, someone who can come in and command those boosters.
Absolutely.
I know who that guy is.
Kurt Zanetti.
He's playing for the national championship on Monday night.
Jonathan, a roster, we barely got enough to field a team. We got one bandit left after today with Renaud leaving.
We don't have enough to practice. We couldn't even run a joint practice with ourselves right now.
Get that intramural squad out there. And then we got Banjax 80. How many of DeBoer's recruits have left the program? One, maybe two. The ones that left are all Saban players and were not good fits. James Smith, Quay Russaw, all Saban recruits. So you're telling me, as talented as James Smith and Craig Russaw are, you could not have done better with those guys? You tell me as coaches that even though they weren't a fit, you couldn't have gotten a better performance than the product we got on the field?
Wow.
Well, and the thing about
Ohio
it,
State won't have any problems.
They can say it all day long, but next year you won't be able to use that excuse anymore because it's all your guys next year.
Wow.
One last, we got Don Parker, $2. One word to describe this program: asinine. What, Pettey?
There's just, look, man, we've all been around this sport a long time, and there's signs. And look, I know people want us to be more positive. I don't know what positive picture you want to paint. That's the thing I said out of the gate. I've never seen a coach take a playoff team and get less mileage out of it directly based off the actions after. But the wow is, look, man. And when I say, when getting back to my point of we've been around a while, you see signs when coaches aren't making changes within the coaching ranks. I'll keep beating this drum. Then you're kind of making your bed when you're getting rid of all the old Saban vestiges, get around all the old signs, change all the markers. That's cool. Do it your way, but you better win your way. That's all I'm saying. And look, if we will come eat crow, you turn it around and find all these diamonds in the rough and do it your way like you did at Washington and get to the Final Four in the playoffs and be like, all right, so you were right. We were all crazy. But, man, sorry. That's where these wow. When you say wow, Pastor, you've been preaching tonight, man, and I'm with you. There's just a lot of wows with the program right now that just
well, that, and if you really want a hot young coach who could probably do it, the good hot young coaches are in the NFL, and they ain't leaving the NFL. I'm sorry.
No, look, some people keep saying D'Amico. D'Amico is taking the Texans to the playoffs 3 years in a row.
Not coming.
Yeah, you don't leave that.
Hey, D'Amico, you want to come have to deal with NIL?
Yeah.
No. Break, no.
I mean,
no structure.
And
the guy that they should have got, I told them, they laughed. Lane Kiffin was the answer. I'm telling you, Lane Kiffin was the answer. And I know what he did this, and young girl, and they were saying all this stuff. I just know Lane Kiffin, that dude, that brother can coach, and that brother gonna bring in people. He know how to get to these transfer portal dudes. He does it just as good as anybody that there is. Now he's at LSU with an open wallet. I'm telling you right now, they really getting ready to get mad with what LSU getting ready to do. They're going to be real mad because Lane Kiffin is getting ready to do some special stuff, brother. Ole Miss, that roster he just built. I mean, went further than Alabama, or the same thing, but I'm just saying, in my opinion, pretty good.
And Pettey, you want to chime in on that? Why don't you talk about what Pete Golden's doing right now in recruiting?
And that's the whole point. Like, if you're an Alabama fan, look over across the state at a program that had a glass ceiling that you kind of always look down on. That, yeah, like you just said, 2 years ago, we were talking on this show, how many people did Bama put in the draft? Ole Miss put 4 in the first round last year, 7 in the draft. This year, they don't have the team. They're back in the Final Four. Well, they're in the top 5 in portal recruiting right now. It's Pete Golden just kept the train going because guess what? Everybody's pulling in the right direction. They believe in NIL. They believe in this new fake world. It's transactional. And they're like, well, here's the transaction. Let's make it work. There are elements to you've got to bring in the right people and pieces where there are still the coaching elements where you got to have or it falls apart like LSU did or Ole Miss did 3 years ago. Lane's done it before where it didn't work. You still got to bring in, but you got to play the game. And y'all are right, man. If you wanted to, and people had egos, you said it, the girls, but there was also booster egos at Alabama when it comes to Lane. But if you wanted to really continue winning and not give a shit, if you wanted the W's at the end of the day, you should have done it, man. Because I'll tell you what, he got on a plane that said Ole Miss on it. When Alabama was kicking the rocks when Saban left, flew his ass to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and begged for the job. So it was there for the taking. I mean,
bro, I was thinking, oh man, listen. Sometimes you got to put the rocks down, operate in some grace. The man's changed his life. We all made mistakes and fallen short of God's glory. But one thing he can do, he can coach some football. Listen, Nick Saban had him on his staff for a reason. I mean, yeah, he screwed up and he was in a bad place there going through divorce and all this stuff. But that dude right there, I'm telling you, man, that was the answer. And they went and got the pretty girl with the dress on, and Kalen DeBoer, great coach as well. But he wasn't, because I think coaching is also about fit. You got to have the, and I don't know if Kalen DeBoer, well, I know he's not the right fit.
Well, let's actually get to a booster. We have a booster in the chat, and we'll get to his main question. He says, James Smith and Quay were great players and were Bama kids who didn't want to leave Alabama. Watch these kids at OSU next year. Watch Noah Carter at Tech. And he goes on to say, guys, Alabama's paying $50,000 just to visit these kids. Morgan and DeBoer are over the NIL payout. Us boosters are forced to work everything through Alabama.
You telling me somebody getting $50 just to come to the campus? $50,000 to come to the campus?
Cam Coleman.
Shit, I'm taking 10 visits.
Hey, $500,000 for 10 visits, bro.
That part.
All right, one more, and then we'll wind things down. Don Parker, $2. Mike Tomlin is available.
He is. No guy that's been in the National Football League is going to go deal with this crap, bro. I'm just telling you right now. Matter of fact, this coach is trying to get out of it. We've seen it right there, like mass exodus out of here because nobody, Nick Saban is out of here because when Miss Terry said, these parents used to come and enjoy going to the house and we do the electric slide and all that good stuff and eat some good food and, they loved it. It meant something. Then when they come in there and say, well, Texas offered me $800,000. What can y'all give us? And that's your first question? That is a serious problem for a high school athlete and for a college athlete. No great coach that's been at the high level is going to come down to Coach Cost. So that comment is worth about $2 because it ain't nothing true in that one.
No, because when you deal with free agency, you're dealing with 5 or 6 guys. We are now in a season where we're celebrating keeping kids on our own rosters. Like, hey, so-and-so re-signed. Like, our college coaches are having to do it with 65 and 85 kids where pro coaches are having to do it with 5. Like, Mississippi State has 55 signees right now. What the hell? Like, so no pro coach with the sanity is going to come deal with this.
Nope, I wouldn't.
All right, I think we've gotten everybody in and we've gone overtime. So what we're going to do now is go around the room real quick. I want you to tell folks how they can find you. We'll start out with Marvin, then go to Pettey, and then we'll go to Pastor Payne, Corey Miller. He can talk to us about the Miller's Edge. Start us out, Marvin.
You can find me on Instagram, Constant45 or X Constant451. Not hard to find.
All right, prime time.
On X, Pettey_Daniel. Always here on Tuesday nights with my guys.
I'm Pastor Payne 57 on the old X machine, or I think that's what I'm at. I think it's just Pastor Payne 57. But catch Christian, Tire 100.9 every day, 12 to 2 Central Time. I get that right. But I'm on there periodically, just whenever I can. But if you're looking for a real talk, we're going to bring it. I'm going to bring that. I ain't going to sugarcoat. You know that. It's going to be real and it's going to be precise. And check us out, 12 to 2.
Absolutely. Hey, Christian hadn't been held back either now. He can't help it.
I know. He's growing up.
Especially in that film study. But that's going to do it for all of us here at the Bama Standard. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching replay, get in the comments. Let us know what you think. If you agree, disagree, all that good stuff. Thank you, Corey, for coming on. Pastor,
yeah.
We greatly
Thanks
appreciate
for having me, man.
you.
I get out I really do apologize. I just had the time wrong and I saw you texting. But anytime, man, I love being on with y'all. Marvin, good to see you.
Mr. Miller, thank
like you smoking the crack
us.
pipe. I don't know if that's a diet or the crack pipe, but looking shit.
Send him your internet. You get better internet in your car than he does in that witness protection.
I mean, look, Corey, it looked like you're in the jail cell room. You know when they go make a phone call?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. You're about to hear a beep. His time's about to run out.
It's time for lineup.
Hey, brother, if you need a little bit of loan, hit me up. I'll give you a love offering.
I got you.
Well, guys, thank y'all. Thank you to everyone who was a part of the show tonight. Thank you for the super chats. We greatly appreciate you, and we will see you next Tuesday night right here at the same time. Until then, roll tide, everyone.
Roll Tide.
Yes, sir.